This is our Unconstitutional Awakening program. Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition. Brought to you by KD Consulting Redesign.
Ahoy there, mateys. It's time to set sail on another episode of Unconstitutional Awakening, the podcast. This evening, Bandit, Neptune, and Luis are joining me in bringing back show friend and previous guest, Moral Bob of the Hidden Podcast. I don't know if you guys know the Hidden in Plain Sight podcast. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. But Moral Bob, of course, is the host of that. And they're always into exploring alternative takes on current events, history, and, just all things wild and strange, man. And like I love Hidden Bob and what he's got, Hidden in Plain Sight, and Moral Bob and what he's got going on over there, man. Like your little current thing you're doing, bud, that you've been releasing about the movie minds, man. Like I dig that. Like I love breaking down stuff inside of movies and stuff like that. I do recommend you guys go over there and check him out, though. I'll make sure I share links for his Instagram and for his Apple Podcasts and any other place that I got a link for him to, man, because he's got it going on over there, and they have some good hard conversations, man. Like I respect Moral Bob because he asks some really good tough questions. He might sound a bit abrasive, but aren't we all at times? I reckon. That's just how it goes. So, but I want to go around the table real quick and just check on everybody and see how they're doing tonight. I'm gonna start with you, Bob. How you doing tonight, buddy?
Man, I'm doing all right, and yes, I can be a little abrasive as you can tell.
Dude, your Instagram is lit.
I
see your Instagram all the time.
The reason that I've started doing my new show about movies and my show Break from the Abnorm is because I'm obviously really black-pilled when it comes to the nature of this world. And I think we're doomed. I think it's all fucked up and people are controlling literally everything. And it just, when you really look at it, it gets you kind of in this mindset of just, man, everything is just fucked. It's all stupid and fucked, and everybody's too dumb to see it, and it's hopeless. So I've decided to take my show, and instead of doing the more serious stuff, I'm focusing less on the serious stuff and more on just having fun with my friends.
Hey man, there's nothing wrong with that, and it's always good to spice things up a bit. I can attest to a time when I was at the point of, fuck it all, and got to the point of just having fun with it, man. Because you're right there. There may be things that are out of our control and stuff like that we don't have complete control of and stuff like that. And instead of pointing at that black cloud and screaming doom, 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 I'd rather have a little bit of fun with it and have some interesting conversation about some wild and crazy things going on all over the world that people might have looked over. You know what I mean? Like there's all kinds of neat little things going on all out there, and these conversations go wild and everywhere. So you really never know. So I'm gonna go on and finish around the table here for a second before we get too deep into it. Bandit, how you doing tonight, buddy? I missed you last night.
I'm doing excellent.
Fantastic. Sorry about not having one last night, guys. I was just trying to catch up around the house. Luis, what's going on up in New York, buddy?
Madness and too many people getting out of jail for no good reason.
Oh Lord. Well, he was sharing some pretty cool pictures with us the other day in our little UA podcast group chat, and You look like you was having some fun out there in New York City and living the high life there, buddy.
No, it's going to some interesting events with some interesting people that are headed to the UN. They started in the UN tomorrow.
Ooh,
So yeah, interesting people.
Nice. Neptune, what's going on over there, buddy? I'm glad to see you on a Tuesday night.
Thanks, man. Yeah, going well. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting civil events going down here in southeastern Georgia, so that's interesting. But no, apart from that, man, everything's going well.
Yeah, I don't keep up too much with the local politics because most of them are pretty crooked, and have been part of a good old boy system that have been there for longer than I've been alive. So,
well, not to interject, but don't forget, man, you act locally and change globally.
Yeah, they keep telling me that, but I still think voting's a scam, and
of course,
everybody that takes part of it is taking part in an insanity because they're doing the same thing every 4 years or so, hoping for different results, and well, that's just pure insanity.
I think I
the literal definition of it.
Canvassers.
Yeah, the local events down here is really
It's like
just
5 or 6 canvassers knocked on my door today, man. Like the local are taking place.
Really?
And
6 today?
I fucking wish one would knock on my door.
It really is, man. Like
I have never gotten canvassers.
I would have been more
people.
prepared because I don't get out much because the public is like you got to take the public in small doses.
Amen to that.
The yard signs are all over the place, so I should have been more prepared. But now that the canvassers are out, I'll definitely be more prepared.
Dude, I dread going out into public. Like it's like it's like a 10-minute process to get ready mentally to go into even the store or Home Depot.
You got to go in front of the mirror. You got to go in front of the mirror and hype yourself up to go out into public.
I got to talk myself down. Like, okay, you're not going to yell at anybody that has 2 masks on. You're gonna.
Where are you? Double masking doesn't even happen here anymore.
Dude, I'm basically in Austin, Texas. So,
I am so sorry for your loss.
Madness here. Yeah, it's still absolute madness.
Kentucky. I live in a liberal stronghold of Kentucky full of mainly like boomers. Okay.
Yeah.
Retirees and
the old racist Democrats.
You mean the modern Democrats?
Well, they showed it. They weren't so virtue signaling about their racism. Now they have the soft bigotry of low expectations. Back then, it was like LBJ saying, "We'll have these niggers voting for us for the next 200 years."
Did you see
that's that kind of
Democrat? Yeah, I remember him saying that too. I've seen that in documents.
Did you see what Portland did? They said that blacks and Latinos they can have a lower score to graduate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's always that kind of stuff. Like Harvard SAT requirements change depending on your race. Have you seen the silly nonsense that they're doing in Illinois?
Business loans?
Like they're not going to apprehend people that are
straight purge.
That's coming.
Yeah, January 1st.
Second-degree murder, drug-induced murder, second-degree murder, drug-induced murder, DUI, threatening
assault,
a public official. Assault, rape.
We're gonna hear purge sirens out there.
All sorts of stuff that they cannot detain you for.
I mean,
I hope this goes the way that I want it to. Okay, I hope a lot of people try to act like dumbasses, and the people that are willing to stand up for their rights shoot these motherfuckers in the face, and it proves that anarchy will work because. All of these people that go around looking to do bad shit. Oh, I can't get apprehended for this. No, but you can get shot in the fucking face for it.
Try that shit in Kentucky, man.
Did you try that?
Yeah, try that shit in Texas.
Illinois is one of the most gun restricted states. So
it is.
Illinois.
While people should have the right to protect themselves, they're not armed.
Yeah,
touche.
But also on that, it may be gun restricted, but hunting. Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin have some of the largest amounts of hunting licenses and tags throughout the year. So if they think they're going to leave, this is mainly going to affect
which basically means high capacity rifles are owned more than handguns.
Yeah, Cook
Chicago's
County and
gonna be a war
Chicago.
zone.
That's what that's going to affect. And if they think they're going to leave Chicago and take that shit outside city limits, outside Cook County, they're going to be sorely mistaken. As soon as they hit those cornfields of Illinois, they're going to be sorely mistaken.
Yeah, as long as they keep that shit in the city, they should be fine. But as soon as they try to go out to the rural community and mess with them with this stupid purge shit, a lot of people are going to die. And I hope it I hope it happens.
States, though, isn't that mainly goes for a lot of states too? Because here in Kentucky, you've got the liberal stronghold Louisville and Lexington. If that shit was to happen in Kentucky and they take that shit out of Kentucky, especially if you east of me, I mean, just like a stone's throw east of me, you get into Appalachia. You take that shit in there, that's the last thing you ever do.
Oh, yeah, you don't want to mess around with East Kentucky.
No,
there's a bunch of crazy mountain people out there, and they'll fuck you up.
You leave the safety
And probably
of the
fuck
city,
you.
you leave the safety of the city where they can get away with stuff like that.
Well, Deliverance was
Rules
Georgia,
change.
so
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, Appalachia ain't
And I do spend a lot of time
local
on the
to
river.
one state. I mean, Appalachia is a culture and it's a way of life. And fuck with any of the mountain boys, and you're bound to have a bad time.
I've had some death threats lately, and all I've told them is, "I'm your Huckleberry. Come on,
Bro,
come try to do something."
You got to go follow Moral Bob over there on Instagram, man. He gets some winners in his comment section like we used to deal with over there on like Facebook pages and stuff. And like he just goes laying ham on them, dude. Like he don't even hesitate. And I found it beautiful. Like just throw, I mean, because he gets some folks come on there and say some pretty dumbass shit when he's in there just trying to post memes, man. The dude's out there posting memes, just having
Like
fun with it.
if I'm a joke, why are you wasting your time looking at my shit? Like just, it's not for you. Go somewhere else. Cool, because these motherfuckers keep giving me material, so it's fine. Like I keep getting stuff to post when they're like, "I'm gonna murder you." Like, come on, man. If you're that smart, come knock on my door looking for trouble. Go ahead.
Bandit said it to me earlier today that he wishes he could have that high of somebody that loathed him so much on just from the internet. And I was just like, no, dude, it's not that great. I mean, it's great. Don't get me wrong, but it's not that great.
Yeah. So either people are. Yeah. We've gotten to this delicate state where everybody's such a pussy that they're that triggered by people's opinion or statements, or there's just an all-out attack of bots on people like me. One of those two things has to be true. I think, and there's probably a Venn diagram there, right? Like there's a lot of overlap there where both could be happening, because we live in a mentally deranged world. Like most people are mentally ill. I truly believe most people are mentally ill.
You actually made me think of a good meme that I figured I needed to.
And, even for those that are not, though, there's almost a point of clout chasing to that, to go after someone and threatening someone.
Well, I think
how do you clarify that I'm not shit, only to give me ammunition to say that you aren't shit?
Right. Well, I think there's going to be a shift away from attacking conspiracy theory stuff to attacking anarchists.
Yes.
I think the shift is coming to where it's going to be an all-out attack on anybody that's pro-anarchy or pro-agorism.
I mean, that's a pretty normal thing to do in American history, because if you go back to
that really happens right now already, because that's like it's the problem with the two-party system, and it's about to come full circle, and they're going to turn on everybody outside the two-party system, man.
Of course.
Please don't lump us in with libertarians. Please don't lump us in with libertarians.
No, thanks, man. Libertarians are LARPers. They just want to be a third choice, man. They're just statism light. and they don't
I was
understand
just
that
thinking diet
statism
status.
light. Yeah,
Diet
right.
status.
But the
Diet status.
difference with diet status is that they don't realize that they're full-blown status, because all government, regardless of its
no matter
size
how
and its
big it is.
creation, will always
Yeah.
grow to tyranny. Always. There's no such thing as small
Proven in
government.
history over and over again.
There's no such thing as small government. America proved that shit.
Yep.
If we are to believe the history that we're told, which I
And
don't.
At the same
but,
time, minarchists, we don't want them either.
yeah, you know, when I was a libertarian, I used
Constitutionalists,
to say one of the
minarchists,
most.
We don't want you either.
I used to say, because I'm a logical person, right? So I used to say that I'm an anarchist ideologically and a minarchist realistically, because I know government will never go away. But God, I really want government to go away. Like, I really think people need to wake up and realize that we don't need it. Like it's not a needed thing. And the idea that it is needed has just been indoctrinated into everybody.
And see, the problem is
to a
people
point of
become
cult-like
confused.
behavior.
When you say you don't want government, that means you don't want you don't want any rules. And I'm like,
they
you
conflate
don't understand
anarchy
the
with
difference
chaos.
between rules and laws, man.
Right.
In full-blown anarchy, volunteerism, however, like when I like explain it to somebody, I'm like, I might occasionally use the word volunteerism. They like, you just want total everything to go. And I'm like, no, there will be rules. They're not going to law us to death. You know, free men care not what tyrants write on paper. Like, I don't want, what I don't want is some dementia-riddled cabbage writing shit on a piece of paper that just sweeping through the country, you know, and then they in turn don't have to follow their own rules.
I got less of a problem with what anything Biden's done than what Trump did. Trump extended the Patriot Act. That was one of the most egregious fucking things done by any modern politician.
He did more for gun laws than Obama did.
Yep.
And people don't understand that. They see that guy as the where we go one, we go all guy. And I'm like, man, that's
so
a cult.
insane. It's so insane. I think Trump Messiah syndrome is way more damaging than Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah, it's there will be rules.
They're both problems.
They are.
There will be rules.
Yeah, they're both problems.
Fanatics are a problem. Fanaticism of any kind.
That can go with religion.
Exactly. Well,
it's all a religion. It's all their chosen religion, whether it's statism, Christianity, you know, whatever. It's all a cult. All of it.
And any extreme in itself is potentially dangerous, and in not allowing an individual to listen that perspectives from multiple sides can exist in certain narratives. And of course, there can be completely manipulated narratives that the collective has fallen under and that they need to be corrected. But that only comes from open minds. When fanaticism comes in, it's creating this mass distortion and then the inability for people to listen to each other.
Well, and it creates blind spots. It creates moral and ethical blind spots, right? When you're a fan of things, and it's like,
but if you go around, people aren't that bad. That's the good news.
I differ, but it's the old adage, like, you become a libertarian when you realize that violence is immoral. You become an anarchist when you realize there's no exceptions. I think most people are horrible monsters because they're willing to allow the government to inflict force on peaceful people. So most people have this moral blind spot where they say, oh yeah, violence is bad, except for this group of fucking known monsters. Like, what? So it's
use
bad
Martha's
unless
Vineyard. Let's use Martha's Vineyard for that. You know,
I mean,
these
look at Saudi Arabia and Yemen.
In Martha's Vineyard, immediately they use the military and law enforcement to.
It's worse. They had 200 empty rooms in hotels.
Well, see, I think this is again
empty rooms.
This is all to stir
shit
up.
Season.
This was just a distraction. This was just, they needed a news story to rile up everybody and start conversations and start pitting everybody against each other.
That's exactly why they did it.
Complete fucking bullshit.
And they're doing Delaware probably tomorrow.
Yep.
They're doing Biden's hometown.
Yep, midterms are coming up, so they just want
They
to
also
stir
did
shit
Kamala
up.
Harris's house, which
Yep.
I'll give
And
him.
see,
That was an
nobody
interesting
said a
troll.
peep. Nobody said
Nobody said a
peep.
peep on Kamala Harris's house.
When he flew millions of them around the country to sanctuary cities, not a peep out of the media.
So
Or
it's been
Biden.
5 million in the last year and a half, probably.
Yes, not a peep.
So the problem is it's actually creating a housing crisis for the people that already live in certain places in the country, not everywhere. But there was an interesting example somebody mentioned that just in LA, 500,000 people have moved in. Yet you have 60, 70,000 people in the streets. So
Yeah, those people are in the streets voluntarily. I think a lot of those people.
no, exactly, because it's a mental health crisis, not a homeless crisis.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
That's what I'm getting to. It's like the
And
majority
an
of the problems are
opiate
mental health.
crisis.
They were
Yeah, which
interviewing
leads to the
homeless
mental crisis. Yeah.
people. In LA, you get paid to be homeless.
Yes, which is absurd.
Just create.
There-
they're
we're-
creating a
we have-
crisis.
As a modern society, I'll speak basically of America because that's where we all live. But what we really have, to get to the root of the problem, because without figuring out the root of the problem, we'll never fix it. The root of the problem is that in America, and it expands outside of America, but for intents and purposes, in America, we have a flawed value problem. People have over time gotten their values so fucking flawed that we don't actually see what's important. And
Our moral compass has been construed.
and ethical. I mean, it's all
Yeah.
jacked. We live in this, consumerist society where everybody just cares about making some money and getting a brand new car and living in a nice house, having some nice clothes, and none of that means fuck all. Like if the power shuts down, is your freaking Gucci watch going to get you anything? Nope, sure isn't. Is your BMW going to help you get anywhere if it snows a fucking foot? Nope, sure isn't.
They keep putting chips in them to
Or they
shut 'em off.
freeze, or they shut down everything and freeze your fucking state, which they did in Texas. Like, you're screwed. Your $80,000 freaking Lexus ain't going to do shit for you. So I've got a 4-wheel drive and 34 chickens. So
That's a good start.
I can go anywhere I need to. And if I've got to hunker down here, I got a big ass fireplace and I got a bunch of chickens and I get 18 eggs a day. Like, so
chickens and
That's
rabbits,
good.
man.
I
And-
think
and
people
what's-
need
what's
to
your-
change
what's
their
your-
value system.
So I'll ask you on chickens. What's a solution if you're running low on feed? What will your alternatives be?
Oh man, my
Wait.
chickens could probably what I would do
is that region
food
where you
scraps.
are? Would they be able
Oh.
to also survive on some of the natural landscape that
Sure.
they are in?
Yep.
That's what.
Yeah,
I'm asking.
yeah,
My
we
garden-
could definitely
my garden
survive on
will feed
scrounging. My chickens are very spoiled. I mean, we're about
It's
to
like,
start.
no way, insects.
dude. No way.
We're about to start growing microgreens for them.
Oh,
Like
that's
our
good.
chickens,
That's good.
our chickens
They're going to be healthier.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
dude.
Our
Healthier
chickens are very, 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 very spoiled chickens,
But
and
that's
it's
good,
because
though.
they give us
They
food.
lay better.
And if shit really hits the fan and we've got to minimize, the good thing about chickens is you can eat them. So if I have to cull some of the flock because I can't afford that, I have 34 chickens. About 25 of them are of egg laying age. I'm not sure if all 25 are actually laying because it overlaps. And it's hard without game cameras or anything like that. It's hard to know who's laying what. But I've got about 25 laying eggs, and I get, we just got our first 18 in a single day. But 6 months ago, when we only had 18 chickens, we were getting 14 a day. So, I could cull technically half the flock and still be getting close to the same egg production.
Yeah, no, I mean,
And then I've got
Either one.
10, I got 10 or
At
20
one-
freaking
at-
chickens in the freezer. So
at one point in time, I was getting almost 60 eggs a day. Like
dude,
I had gotten out of hand because I had over 100 chickens.
I want 100 I want 100 chickens
math.
real
Yes,
bad,
dude.
man.
Chicken math,
And
like it's just all. Listen, after 50, you start to notice a difference in things like mosquitoes and other bugs around your house.
There's
vanishing
nothing left.
because
Nice.
Well, yeah, they're
started-
so hungry. Right now, our chickens are so well fed. The flies and mosquitoes know they're completely safe. Like they are not in harm's way at all. They're everywhere. But if I stopped feeding them, there's a couple chickens that it would spread to the whole flock. But there's a couple chickens that if it's a big enough fly, they'll chase them. You'll see them chase them around the yard. And there's definitely no lizards or anything in the yard. They know to stay out.
Well, you know what? You wanted them to get some cardio in, you know? You want some lean chicken.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Lean chicken.
So yeah, like, and I've got a pig that I'm trying to fatten up too. So, and that's going to get slaughtered in November.
But
Pigs
you
get
know,
out
in a
of hand, too.
minimalistic area, believe it or not, they say one of the best things for like a minimalistic area, which I'm like on a quarter of an maybe a quarter of an acre, maybe a little bit more. I got chickens, rabbits. I got a really good sized garden. They say one of the best things for a very minimalistic area, and especially being in an urban environment like me, is quail.
Yeah.
Quail, you can feed
The
a
eggs
dozen
are high
quail for
quality.
less than $50 a year, pretty much.
Really.
That is an
I
expensive.
Yeah,
have to
you-
look into that because I like quail as a food source, but their eggs are so tiny. I'd need to eat like 600 of them to get full.
Well, see, the thing
So-
is, I'm going for like I have male and female rabbits, and I can't have roosters in town because of the noise. But
Yeah.
you can have male and female quail in town because the male crows are like a peep.
Really?
So nothing. So it's about the self-sustaining thing. Like I can
I get
continue
that.
to
Where you
maintain
are.
the numbers. Yeah,
Right, where
maintain the
you are.
numbers of quail
Yep.
in the city. In the city.
Yep.
So it's one
That's
of those
not bad.
things. It's about becoming self-sustaining.
Yeah,
Even in
and
a
I've got
small
3
area.
roosters. Only 2 are crowing. One is a big giant fucking red rooster. And another is this tiny little runt silky rooster that his crow sounds like a 1920s crank start car trying to start. It's like like it's this fucking insane thing, and it's
I
not
remember-
very-
We went and got our
the
pullets.
first time.
Yeah, we went and got our pullets from Tractor Supply, and they're like, "Oh, here's 6 hens."
Mm.
4 of them were roosters, man. I woke up one
Yeah,
morning.
you can't trust Tractor Supply, man. You never know what you're gonna get from there. We got 4 baby chicks recently, and my son came to me a little while ago, and he was like, "Hey, one of the babies is dead." Completely random. We have no idea why it's dead, how it died. Like,
grew
it
up.
was just
And I
dead.
woke up one morning and I was
Some
like, "What?" in the
some
hell
of
is
it
that?
happens.
The window was
It's-
open, and I heard there's. I was like, "Oh, you got to be fucking
Yeah.
kidding me, man! Really?"
I got
Roost-
a neat baby chick
they're
story.
in the
Like
freezer.
I thought some were dead one day, and I removed them from the cage that they were in, and just kind of put them over the fence at the back of the property. And I was sitting on the back porch, and I kept hearing this fucking chirping, and I was like, "What the fuck am I hearing?" So I got up and took a walk to the back, and I walked around the back fence, and 3 baby chicks come running around the corner at me because they had their body temperature had gotten below 85 degrees. So
Oh shit.
they went into shock and basically went into like a sleep state. And when the
Mhm.
temperature got above 90 that day, it woke them back up. And I was like, "Oh God, I pronounced you dead before you were actually dead." And so I ended up bringing them back.
Well,
around
I
and
hope
put
this
back in
one
the
wasn't
crib.
playing possum. Its legs were stiff,
Oh.
its neck was loose, and it looked pretty fucking dead.
No, did
But
you
it
hear
got
about
it got buried. So
That
if it
happened-
was still alive, it's dead now.
that happened to hamsters and other animals? So people
Because hamsters
just threw them
hibernate.
out, and they didn't
Mhm.
realize they went into hibernation mode.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's so sad. Like the pet shops don't tell. By the way, they could go hibernating. It'll look like they're dead.
Yep.
That's all they had to do is tell us. You'll know the difference in dead and hibernating because eventually it's going to start smelling.
Essentially, just leave them there, and if they start smelling, well, you know they're dead. That's the best way. You're right. It's the simplest way.
Well, this baby chick, unfortunately, was for sure dead, and we don't know why. It's just completely random.
I mean, it happens statistically. That's why you have so many eggs. It's because I mean, with humans, for the reason where, our great grandparents sometimes had 9 kids, is because 2 of them died.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, what is it? I have many friends that have had countless miscarriages. I've had friends that had 3 miscarriages. I had friends that, for them to exist, the parents had 2-3 miscarriages. Like,
miscarriages are way more common than people want to.
Yeah, it's just not a fun topic because sometimes they're very painful.
Especially
sometimes they're
now.
very emotionally.
Depends on when it
draining.
happens. It can be very, very emotional. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes it happens at the end, like 6 months in or something. And it's at that point, it's very attached to you, even psychologically, to the mother. So, and the father also feels it.
Yeah.
And especially now, it seems to be becoming more and more of an issue now. Like, just birthing problems, period, man. If you look at the decline in childbirth.
Well, that's
twofold,
right?
I keep hearing that, but I know so many people, including myself, that have a baby within the year age range or so.
There's going to be just like there's boomers, there's going to be COVID babies. But if the birth rate is down, then there's a lot of reason that there is. I mean, I think people are less fertile for a lot of reasons, but I think a lot of people are just like, man, I'm not bringing a kid into this fucked up world. Like, this place sucks.
Oh man. So I actually seen this video.
That's a big reason, though.
Oh yeah.
I've seen this video today, flipping TikTok, where they were talking to a guy that claims he was a ex-Men in Black and that he had to do, some unspeakable things, and he made mention in his little discussion speech thing, his deathbed confession thing, of not only a man-made disease coming out around 2018 that was going to help, eliminate some population and such, but was also talking about the amount of metals not only being sprayed on us, but hidden within foods and stuff that have dropped, like male potency almost 50% across the board. Like,
I think what they've done is they've attacked sperm instead of miscarriages and whatnot. And now, because think about it, this stupid little Black Mirror device that we all have in our pockets as men, we carry them in our pockets, not our purses, right?
Sure.
I'm sure there's some dudes out there with purses or fanny packs or whatever, and that's all good, man. You do you. But we all carry these in our pockets right next to our balls, and they emit radiation, and radiation lowers sperm count.
I'm a side
period.
But you're right.
I think these things have been a big.
It is. But it's the largest proponent has been food.
That too.
A very very lethargic lifestyle.
The microplastics.
There you go. There.
Everything at the grocery store, literally everything at the grocery store is poison. If it's got yellow number 5, red number 40, blue number whatever it is, if it's got any food coloring, really it's poison. If it's got monosodium glutamate, you start looking at the ingredients at the stuff in the store, and you don't buy the shit that's got the poison in it, you're quite restricted. There is very little stuff that you flip over and read the ingredients.
Just try to buy something without sugar.
I was about to say a great example was the other day. I was telling the guys this in the group chat. Is I was on the hunt for real maple syrup. And there was even multiple bottles that on the front of the bottle said, not made with high fructose corn syrup. And when you flip it over, the first fucking ingredient is corn syrup.
Oh, I had some from upstate New York. it was incredible.
Okay, well,
Oh,
look,
yeah,
From a
listen,
local
dude.
farm, from a
Up
farm.
there,
good-
that's like where it's made, dude.
It's nice.
That's the good
took
stuff.
me a good 25 minutes of digging through this syrup to actually find one that was pure maple syrup, and the little
Mhm.
bottle that I got was almost $10
Oh
no, they're super
You-
expensive. It's
I'll
yeah,
quadruple
pay
the
it's
price.
like it's almost like honey.
It's worth it,
Like,
but
yeah.
it was just like, oh
Taste tastes so amazing, and it doesn't go bad.
my.
Well, I left
Mm-mm.
it in the fridge. It didn't go bad at all, and like I had it for months because I was using it sparingly. But I had like somebody gave me a bottle this big. It lasted me months.
Well, they've done a
Yeah.
great
I'll just
job.
go to
They've
the
done a great
Amish
job at
market if I want
removing
the
the
real stuff, man.
fiber from all of the foods. Like they've like rice and wheat and even like apples and stuff. Like they have the fibery outside and then like the sugars and stuff on the inside. But us as humans have made it a point to basically remove the fiber from everything and just ingest the sugar, and we wonder why so many people are fucking obese
Oh, dude,
and diabetes.
Everything. We are
and-
the sickest, dumbest fucking things that we've ever been. Like,
Mhm.
and nobody wants to look at this stuff. Like we live in a society that doesn't want any self-reflection, none at all.
They want to accept it
Like-
rather than deal with the issue.
like-
They want to accept it. That's why they push the
What?
fat acceptance, everything like that. They want to accept it rather than deal with the problem.
Right, because it's easy. It's I'm possibly going to start writing a book soon
Nice.
about lazy narcissism and how it's ruined the world, because that's all it is. I mean, the whole COVID nonsense was lazy narcissism. It was people that were seeking a reward with as little work as possible, and that's what people want, man. They want to, feel good about themselves while putting as little effort as possible into what they do. And it shows. Nobody wants to work for anything anymore. Nobody wants to try. Nobody wants to read ingredients. Nobody wants, because that shit takes effort. We get told that we're privileged as people that homeschool our kids, when nothing could be further from the truth. We're not privileged for
gotta go
living
that
the
extra
lifestyle that we
mile.
live. Like, we have half the income. I mean, God, dude, if my wife and I both worked full-time freaking like corporate jobs, which we both could, we both have the skill and the resume to have high paying like corporate jobs, we'd be fucking rich, dude. But we get by and we choose this life because it's, again, it goes back to what I said. It's about value system. Like, we try to eat organic foods. I've even started thinking about a no-kill diet, where I don't eat anything where the animal or the plant has to die for me to eat.
Well,
So
raw. There's some relevance to certain raw foods.
Mhm.
I mean, the acidity of our stomach is around 1.2 to 2.5. So we have the stomach of a carnivore. So it also depends on the individual's biology.
well,
some
you can
individuals
change your
are-
gut biome.
No,
So
I know,
you-
but
so
but
that
it's
you
more
can
about the
digest
chemistry in
things
general of
differently.
how your body's going to accept it. So
Right, but
yes,
you
you
can
can-
change the chemistry in your body depending on your diet and depending on the things you do. You can
I-
either
I
raise your
remember-
acidity or lower your acidity.
I remember Liver King doing a bit about this, and while I think he's pretty extreme and off the wall, he did mention.
I mean, he gets
That's all
attention.
steroids, dude.
That's
yeah, for real.
steroids. Well, didn't he
But-
see the joke video where they
Yeah.
were commenting?
But
It's the
he's
steroids, and he
talked-
avoided the question completely.
Yeah, for real. Right.
He was like,
But he
primal.
actually,
I'm like, you're not
but
answering the
to
question.
Bob's point, he brought that up, that eating raw liver, because of the amount of protein and because it is so high in lipoproteins, it is good for you.
Hmm.
But there is some truth to the physiology thing, right? Like your body can only consume so much of that, and you have to be
right.
you have to be willing to commit to that and actually.
Well, there's
Yeah.
a ex MMA
Baby
fighter
steps.
that has come out and said that everybody's doing their diet wrongs, because you'll have all these people that think that you just need to pile in protein when your body can only process 15 grams of protein an hour.
Right.
So if you eat 200 grams of protein in less than an hour, you're shitting out 170
So it's
or
really it's only
180.
15
So it's
grams
what-
an hour.
so it's
That's
weight-
That's what he
it's weight-
says,
It's weight
and-
consumption.
It might not be
Right.
off. That's why some athletes have to
And
eat
so-
throughout the day.
Right. And that's why like people that are really big bodybuilders, they eat a little bit like all the
Strongmen.
time. They're
Strongmen
eating like
competition.
every 30 minutes.
Except the
You know,
mountain. That guy
and, like-
eats 5,000 calories in the morning.
Right. But like you know, there's bodybuilders that will set alarms so they get up in the middle of the night and go eat something. And then they go back to sleep. And then a couple hours later, an alarm goes off and they go eat something. And it's because they have to have this constant intake of protein and nutrients in order to build your muscle. And that's always been my problem. I'm a hard gainer when it comes to that kind of stuff because I don't eat right. I can get strong, but I don't get big. I don't build muscle,
Well,
which I don't give a shit about. Like, it's fine. Not that I'm a small dude, but like I think that we need to change the way that we intake food. Like, we're sick mentally and physically, like really, 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 really sick in this country. Like, we're dying, we're killing ourselves, and if shit doesn't change, it's gonna get real bad. Like,
I do have
we
a,
basically eat everything is processed nonsense. So I've thought about doing a no-kill diet where it's you know, eggs, because you don't have to kill anything to take a unfertilized egg. It's not, you're not even taking a potential life as long as it's an unfertilized eggs. And then you have berries and things like squashes and, you know, stuff, the apples, you know, you have all of this stuff that you can take from the source without killing the source. Because I think energy is a real thing. And I think death carries an energy with it. And if you're constantly killing something to provide nutrients, I think that death carries over. That dead energy, I think, can have an effect on you. I haven't proven it yet. Like, I haven't started this diet yet because I like meat.
There's definitely some morality behind how we treat animals.
The factory farming is one of the most atrocious things ever.
Absolutely. And, you know, I have always been of the opinion, like, were I ever in a position that I had to go vegetarian for some reason, like, my main source of protein might be mushrooms. Because as a natural source, it's one of the highest sources of protein that you could get just from foraging.
And they're so good. And depending on the mushroom, you can marinate it and eat it just like you would meat.
Yeah, lion's mane is a great one. I need to.
I like
get
one of my favorites is
expensive.
oyster mushrooms. Oh, fucking oyster mushrooms.
You guys heard of the
so
and I think it's
King
enoki
oyster
mushrooms. It's grown in Japan and in a particular town in Japan.
Yes.
Nobody
Yes.
gets cancer in that town. There's like a zero rate of cancer in that town. It's one of the only places on earth. And they were like, what's special about this town? Mushrooms? Because everybody just eats them all the time because they farm them. So it's fascinating that there's
Well, it's probably also rural.
definitely
There's
a
probably
science
not.
for that.
There's probably not 5G towers nearby because it's outside of a city. You know, there's probably a lot that goes into that. It may not like, I think mushrooms have a lot of power.
I'm sure there's 5G in this town. It's Japan.
Maybe you never know.
The 5G is not what's killing people. It's the food before the 5G.
Why? Well, 5G radio waves are so small they can bifurcate cells. Like,
No, they can't.
Yes, they can.
There's no proof
5G
of that.
5G
Show
radio
me the- show-
5G
show me the-
waves
show me
are
the
less
actual-
than a millimeter tall.
Show me the actual proof. I'll read it.
Just
love
to
to
look
read
it up. Look how big 5G
No, send it to me.
waves
I'd
are.
love to see it.
But you're not going to trust anything I send you. Just look it up. Do your own research. 5G radio waves are microscopic. They're
not
less than a
microscopic.
they're less than a millimeter tall, and they can bifurcate cells. They can literally split cells in half.
The 60 gig, we've had that frequency around you since before you were born.
Well,
5G signal is not
How
new.
do you even know when I've been born? How do you know when I was born?
The 5G signal is just using the spectrum that the television signals was using before. Henceforth, 5G signal has been around since before.
If you look at all of the quote unquote pandemics,
to you before
if you look at all the quote unquote pandemics that have happened through time, it's always when a new technology, a new wavelength has been introduced to the society. Every single one. Yeah, read the book, The Invisible Rainbow, man. Like, I'll send you my copy if I need to.
That's a good recommendation.
Radio waves, wavelengths, vibrations are everywhere around us, whether you can see them or not. And they go from smaller than a fucking hair to giant. Like AM radio waves are 100 feet tall, while FM radio waves are only 10 feet tall. And then 5G are less than a millimeter. So to say I'm wrong without doing the research is
here you go, Luis. I do have a link for you because, and I'll make sure I share this because this is a PDF of the book. I do totally recommend this book, The Invisible Rainbow, the history of electricity and life. Like this dude basically ended up, being chastised and all kinds of things, but like he does have a lot of the proofs and the correlations, and I don't believe in coincidences. So when you start seeing the correlations come together of the releases of different technology and sudden influence of pandemics, of that kind of thing, like he makes note that we are of frequency, which
we are beings of frequency. I'm not,
and so every time they enact a different waveform, that waveform interacts with
5G is not new
and causes.
This is what I'm trying to say. 5G
but it's more prevalent.
Yes, but it's more
prevalent.
And a lot.
There's 5G towers everywhere. There's 5G towers everywhere. When 10 years ago they weren't. They weren't. Cell phone towers were not everywhere like they are now.
I understand where you're going about, but what I'm saying is that when it comes to the science of it, what really is a problematic issue, which has been proven, is yes, there is problems with these devices in terms of the proximity to us in relationship to long-term exposure. Short-term exposure, no risk at all. Long-term exposure, unknown effects potentially to our
Whoever
brain.
has short-term exposure to cell phones and cell towers.
Short-term exposure is because after a certain distance, there is no effect. Like in relationship, for example.
Well, yeah, because at a millimeter tall, they can't go very far, but they're using all the cell phones as leap pads. So you have a 5G hub in your pocket because they have to bounce 5G off of everything because it can't make it tower to tower like AM and FM radio waves. Like they travel very, very short distances. And that's why if you get just outside of a town and you can't see a 5G tower, you start having shitty
for television. That many of these signals were always being used. The military was using them. They then authorized the utilization.
99% of communication is done through fiber optic wire. Most communication, it doesn't even happen through radio waves. It's all through fiber optic wires around the world. And that goes for old televisions too. It was all done through wiring. I mean, the first fiber optic wire was laid in like the 40s. So most things, including your television, were all done through fiber optics, not radio waves. And the radio waves were so big they couldn't penetrate through you. Like FM and AM radio waves, they're not big enough that they can penetrate you down to your bone. 5G is. 5G is so small it can penetrate through you and get to your cellular level.
Find me some of that info.
Look into Matt Landman. Matt Landman's done a ton of freaking stuff on this.
Matt Landman has done a ton of stuff on this. Actually, he's a great source for this kind of stuff. But
yeah, go to actualactivist.com.
Yeah. I invited him to come on the show, and he ended up changing his mind.
He's been super busy. He blew me off too. He's just been really busy.
I understand.
His clothing company's blowing up, and he's doing a bunch of research. And he's doing a second Frankenskies documentary. So he's just crazy busy. So I don't even bug him anymore. I bugged him for a while, asked him to come on, and then he was like, man, I'm really just not doing anything. I'm focusing on work. And then he started doing a podcast again. I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to bug him.
It's totally understandable. No, I mean, that's
look into his stuff, man, because he's got all the information, all the links, all the stuff that you want to go to if you want to do research on your own and find out that we are surrounded by this invisible radio waves that are killing us. Like, they are fucking with us in ways that we can't even imagine. And then you add that and you read, you know why they put aluminum and shit all in your body is because that reacts with the radio waves in a way that makes you sick. So they fill you with this toxic material and then they bombard you with this radiation and it fucks you up.
Oh, I have this interesting application I got a few years ago. So this shows me all of the antennas.
Yeah.
All of the signal. So if I aim upwards, it actually shows me the satellites. But this is just all towers around me.
Satellites. But yeah, there's that app and there's websites you can go to you just put your zip code in.
That's wild.
And it'll tell you how many towers and how many antennas.
You have to pay for this one, but it's really interesting. It has this interesting sound, which is like of the refraction of the signals. But I mean, there's a whole universe when it comes to the frequency space, and there's a lot of things we can't even perceive that. Because when we think of our sight, we don't realize there's a whole group of things that we can't even see.
Right. Sight is simply perceiving vibrations. We can only perceive certain vibrations. Everything is vibration. Whether you're hearing my voice, seeing my face, seeing sunlight, seeing a car drive by, hearing the car drive by, it's all vibration, all of it. My body that I'm in, the fact that I can feel my body when I do this, it's all about vibration.
Jim, can you find that video we were talking about earlier?
It is gone. I liked it and it's been removed. So me and Luis.
That's what I thought too. I couldn't find it.
Video earlier. This guy.
Dude, we both found the same thing.
And I'm gonna go searching for it. And if anybody else out there runs across it, please get it to me. But it was a subreddit that was discussing vibration and everything being,
so I'll give you the TLD like a summary. Supposedly this group of scientists went into some old system, some old cave system or something, some old structure, and they started playing with vibration, just like playing different amplitudes until they got to a specific sweet spot. And then the sweet spot, the resonance got really, really strong, and then they turned off the machine. The resonance kept going. And then they started hearing things. And they were like, hello? And then the other side responded. And they started having a conversation. And they said, oh, we haven't heard from you in a while. And they're like confused. Because like, your ancestors figured this out a long time ago. I guess you guys figured it out again. And it was basically the interesting part, which is that's how it ended, is they say, where we are in comparison to you, based on what we think you know about the universe, we're 15 times larger than the universe that you think you know. And we're there. We're 15 times larger than the entire size of the known universe in distance from you. And we're communicating like live, as if like the person's right next to you. So they were perplexed and then making fun. I was like, you measure things in light? Oh, that's funny. They're not there yet. And that's how it ends. They're like just like getting into the conversation of like how measurement, another system of measurement, and it's interesting. It was an interesting story.
And the way that it referenced it was talking, like from my perspective, is the way that it referenced is it was talking about lots of like these old temples and bell systems and like this ancient tech that I know more about.
I mean, it could have been a really. There was other videos in the page. It was not associated in any way towards this. I don't know why the hell did I lose it and then you now lost it.
I had it liked, so
they don't want people.
It must have just been removed.
They don't want people knowing about this stuff. There's a device called a Tibetan Thunderbolt.
I know.
That-
Wait, what's that?
it-
Let me see it.
It's this really
I
crazy
want to see this
device,
thing.
and it basically is supposed to be able to harness or emit the vibrations in your body, or receive vibrations. And I was actually at this rock place this weekend. I took my kids to this little rock store that's this historical place in Austin, and they had a Tibetan Thunderbolt just like this, but it was attached to a bell, and I barely rung the bell, and then I just held it, and it was like that bell fifth over from the top. It was just like that bell. I barely rung it, dude, and it just rang forever until I sat it down. It just boom, just kept going and going, and then I set it down. So it was made at this with this way that it would just ring almost infinitely if it wasn't stopped.
I've done whole episodes on another show that I do on the Red Pill Project about like the bell systems and the ancient tech and stuff, and how there was a lot more high end frequency. You know, earlier you guys had made mention of like, you know, like nuclear power and stuff like that. See, I'm one of those guys that is on the brain perspective that these vibrations and the electricity in the air around us can be harnessed and stuff.
Yeah, well,
you know, more and could be, but since history's been extremely adjusted and erased and told to tell any story.
If Tesla is a real person, he figured it out. He figured out that we can harness the energy just around us and make that work for us. And there's people like I forget the dude's name, but he built a place in Florida called the Coral Castle, and I think he did it with frequency.
Been there.
He was able to do
It's
acoustic
pretty- it's really
levitation. Cool. He was able to form these rocks and lift these huge things. And he was like
he didn't
5'5",
form the
like
rocks.
130 pounds.
They were
Like-
pre-cut, but he assembled them. But they were pre-cut.
Yeah,
He didn't
and
form
the
them.
door to the entire area, the door to it, like a
broke
gate,
off, and then they couldn't
was
fix it
10
after.
tons.
10 tons.
And
Can
it
open it
was
with one
so
finger.
perfectly balanced. Yeah, you could
And
open
then
it
broke,
with
and they
one
couldn't fix it.
finger.
And you have to
Yeah.
ask yourself, how can you not
And-
fix it?
I've had, I think buried in my pictures somewhere, I have pictures of this place when I went down to
place is
visit.
Rad.
And just to look at that and go, there's no way one guy built this. You know, that
Well,
there's no
he-
way.
My question is, where did he get all the money?
Right. That's a lot of my question when I see stuff like that. I'm like, where the fuck did
And they
these
claim he
guys
did it
get
with just
money?
Because I remember the
primitive ass
documentary.
batteries and
I don't
Yeah,
remember
right.
them mentioning
And
where the
when
hell
he
he got
was-
his money.
When he was asked how he did it, he said, I figured out the secrets of how the pyramids were built.
Yes,
Mhm.
that's, and then there was a box that was taken away when he died. That
So,
potentially
right,
was the
but
box.
was it actually doing anything, or was that something he just put up to make people think it was actually an object that was doing it when he just
Well, he
Have
did
any of you
amazing
guys ever heard
things.
of the Shamir worm?
No, what's that?
The Shamir worm is supposedly a stone cutting worm from Jewish mythology that was used by not only people like King Solomon and stuff like that, but was also said to be used in the use of not like this coral castle and in the use of like pyramids and stuff. Like it,
Possibly. I think through vibration you could change the form of stone, though.
this,
Like you could lift it up and form it, because there's some of these stone structures that look
Yes.
like they were put together and you can't fit anything through it, but it'll have creases and overlaps on stuff like it was in a bag, like it was free formed. And if you were able to lift something and make it kind of this fluid state until you put it into place and removed the frequency from it, then you could set it down like a cement bag and then just remove the frequency and it becomes solid again.
we
um,
the other week we Luis had sent me a video that we had shared on here when we were talking about them levitating stones with different frequencies and stuff. And I mean,
Well,
like
there's
the-
acoustic levitation that they've proven that you can do now. And if you do magnetic levitation, there's like you can buy little devices that are basically just a magnet, and it'll come with another thing that's got a magnet in it, and you can just put it over it and it just floats.
There's a cool item you can get it for $40. You basically put it inside of a shoe and the shoe floats. I mean, it's electricity based, but with magnets, which is the fascinating thing we're discovering, is there's potentials to create high efficiency outputs. And there was this little machine. Yeah. There was this machine that was theorized that could create a lot of cheap, like free energy. But the way it works is it's two plaques and it's covered in another metal. And then basically you're moving them forward and backwards. And then when they're doing this motion, it can create electricity. And they were giving an example. In order for that to, let's say, power a city, it would need to be the size of like the Twin Towers. And then it'd be doing this all day and it would power a big portion of the city. Now, it sounds extremely impractical in relationship to scale, but it's one of those technologies and those ideas that they have fruit in reality. It's just the applicational methodology is still too complex to figure out.
Years ago, there was this like 12-year-old kid that in his basement, he created this thing that would harness energy for free.
David Hahn.
Now, are you talking about the kid that committed suicide or killed himself or died?
I don't think so.
Recently, the guy that tried to create a nuclear reactor that almost went critical.
No. This was just some kid that did a science experiment. It was like a coffee can and some copper wire and some stuff. And it was basically a battery, and it just harnessed energy out of the air. And of course, when I saw this years ago, I was like, well, that's never going to go anywhere. Like they're going to make sure that shit disappears.
The tricky part is we can harness small amounts of energy, right? It's scale. It's a scale problem. So there's some of these solutions that it's about scaling. We can figure out like a this size to do it. What the problem is, when you get to much bigger proportions, the math breaks apart. And that's the problem of implementation, because people have been trying, and I have a few people actually on TikTok, like there's other creators that have been building little machines, and they can do things like power their house. So there's technologies that are out there, but it's very limited. Some guy I knew, a Serbian, he was showing me a machine he built.
The reason is because our concept,
I need to get that Serbian scientist.
Our concept of this realm is very limited. And so our concept of our ability and this realm and what energy is, we've got this massive misunderstanding of what we are, what this realm is, and what we can do. I think, I think they tell us in movies that we can harness energy as simple as just going like this and just being able to grab it. I think we can literally grab it out of the air. And I think that's half of the reason we're poisoned the way that we are, is to keep us from being the beings that we are meant to be. We're high energy, high vibration beings that are just being suppressed at this massive level to where we've just been changed. Now, can we get back to that inside of a lifetime? Who knows?
Have you ever conceptualized the multidimensional points of view? So you look at, for example, a two-dimensional object, like flat objects and such, three-dimensional, this and that. Fourth, it's living in the time and space that we're in. Fifth dimensional, sixth dimensional, it's living above. But what if we're actually shadows of the fifth dimension to an extent? And the idea that we can ascend from this to that is the impracticality. We can't physically ascend, but we can mentally ascend.
Well, this physical body is part of this 3D realm. So we can't move this body. We can't move this body. We can move our consciousness. We can move our energy into. We
can potentially move what represents our consciousness, which is tethered to
which consciousness, soul, whatever you want to fucking call it. Mm-hmm. It's all words for basically things that we don't really understand. But yeah, I think we can. I like the movie Powder. I like to correlate this stuff to movies because I think they tell us a lot of things in these movies. But Powder is about a kid that gets like I think he gets like struck by lightning and he becomes this like high energy being, and he starts like not knowing how to deal with his physical form. And like one of the last scenes of the movie is the kid running through a field, and he literally just eviscerates into energy. He just boom, there's a big energy stream, and he just turns into energy. Because energy cannot be created or destroyed, and we are high energy beings. So I think this is just some stupid physical suit form that we have.
The meat, we're mech
The meat
suits.
mech. Yeah, the
They're
meat mech.
mechs.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, dude.
Well, there's a lot of scientists that have come out and said that we are the most advanced robots, or the most advanced computers that have ever been created. And I think that there's a lot to that. Because I think there's a movie to always be pumping out movies, but there's a movie on Netflix called Extinction. I think it's called Extinction. Check it out. It's so good. It's the most amazing alien abduction kind of movie that you'll ever see. I'm pretty sure it's Extinction. I'll look it up real quick to verify, but it's an amazing movie that I think everybody should watch.
Yeah.
Extinction from Netflix.
I found it.
Let me see.
I don't know.
There's like that's
robot.
That's it right there. It's so freaking good. God, that movie's so good. The twist at the end, you don't see coming.
What's weird, so Netflix amazing. Is telling me I shouldn't watch it. So I will watch it because Netflix says it's a 56% match.
Yeah, dude, it is really.
Their algorithm
really
broke after they changed it from 5 stars to 2 stars to 3. Like they broke it.
It is so good. Watch the movie. Anybody listening, Extinction. You'll notice the main character. I forget his name. It's like Michael Pena. I think you'll notice him from other movies.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's been all over the place.
He's been in Ant-Man. He's like the little techie dude in Ant-Man. Like he is amazing. And in this movie, he does a stellar job. Like I love that movie so much, and I promote it a lot because I really see that, and I'm like, holy shit, what if that's us? Like, what if that is us? We're the like. I don't want to spoil it.
Don't spoil it.
I was about to. But
you gotta look at all the possibilities. And
I do. I hold nothing true, right? So like I'm not, and I don't mean this in an egotistical way, but I'm in a unique place where I don't have a belief system. I have no belief system. If I can't prove it, I don't believe it. Period. End of story. So whether it's God or the war in Ukraine or space or whatever, I don't buy it unless I can prove it, period. So that leaves me in this place where I'm open to a lot of things as well. If somebody can present something to me in an intellectual way and it's logical and reasonable, then I can consider it. I won't ever take it as proof unless I can prove it. But there's a lot of things that I hold as potential truths. So like I'm in Schrodinger's reality. Like anything and everything could all be true at the same time until proven otherwise.
Watch everything everywhere all
at once.
Everything everywhere all at once.
I haven't watched that, but that shit looks crazy too.
Movie, $25 million budget they made.
Holy shit!
Hell, I think they're over 200 million
in profits. Yeah, it was a blockbuster. I mean, it was pretty big.
It's really good, and it's people are like, you can have a female of course, she was first of all, she's a great actress in general. She's been in film forever.
Isn't it a movie about simulation, basically? It's a simulation theory movie.
Watch it. I'm not going to spoil anything.
Okay.
Just watch it.
I've seen the trailer for it.
It is. It's not what you think
I've seen the trailer for it, and I was like, that looks really fucking interesting. So, like, I'm open to anything.
It's a very beautiful, well thought out movie. It
looks well done. Yeah, it looks well done and well written, shot.
The rock scene is the best.
Yeah.
Scene.
Okay.
But you'll understand.
I'll check it out.
Like everybody else, like the rock scene. It's a wonderful scene.
Yeah. There's there's been so much predictive programming out lately that it's hard to keep up with. Like, there's just so much to consume, which it's all a distraction, right? But at the same time, like, people like us that are in it all the time, like, I seek the distraction. Like, at the end of the day, when I sit down and I get in bed with my wife, like, I want something to distract me. Like, I want the entertainment. And my wife keeps telling me, she's like, does it frustrate you to not ever be able to turn it off? Like, you can't just enjoy something. I'm like, no, I can't. Like, I see symbolism.
I feel personally attacked.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
with
I
time,
see something
a
in
good
everything.
a good technique with time is working on meditation. It can help you to
Man, I need to do
build
that,
a disc.
honestly.
Yeah, that's meditation is wonderful for any human being listening. Please, if you get anything, please just try to meditate.
Well, I think, and meditation can mean anything. Like, you can focus on a song and you're meditating. Like I think people put this very restrained view of meditation where it's like you're sitting down. Well, I just mean like society, not you. No, it's not, but society's like, oh, meditation, like that means I gotta like sit and be quiet. And it's like, no, meditation can happen on your commute to work. It can happen at anywhere, but
it could happen while exercising, while doing something.
Of course, it's being
also
left
similar
with
to
your
getting
thoughts.
Ever heard of flow state?
Yes,
meditating.
It's similar to getting into a flow state.
Yeah.
You can do it while you're taking care of the animals outside, man.
Yep.
Like, if it's peaceful outside, man. Go, and when people tell you go touch some grass, go do that, please.
Oh yeah,
get outside,
dude.
Get outside and ground yourself in nature. Grow a garden, tend some animals, man. That is some of the most peaceful time you will experience, man.
Yeah, my oldest son almost never wears shoes when he goes outside. The only reason I've had him wearing shoes the past couple days because I just moved my chicken coop over to where there was a big thorn bush, and I had to pull out the thorn bush, and I wasn't able to get everything up, so there's still like half-inch long thorns all over the place. I'm like, all right, dude, for the next week or so, wear shoes when you're out there so you don't get a half-inch thorn in your
calluses.
foot.
I mean, that's another thing with calluses is the weirdest thing about our, like, how we obsess with feet is, like, also you want good calluses. Like, you could start building bad calluses, but like, I had friends that their feet were just fully protected. They could walk on fire and not feel shit.
I had a friend in high school that would put cigarettes out on his foot, and he would go, unless he was at school, he didn't wear shoes, and he would get these thick calluses on his feet, and every now and again he would peel them off from his toes to his heel. He would peel them off in one piece. It was this thick, leathery callus. And then for a couple days, his feet would be tender, but then he'd be back to normal, building up his callus.
There was an MIT engineer that saw his friend pass away. And then he realized, I need to be healthy. And what he did was he decided, you know what? I'm going to run to work barefoot. So every single day, the guy runs barefoot in the city to work.
I wonder how long it took before.
It took him a few days to build up the calluses, but he did it, and he does it every single day, and he got into the best shape of his life. He's never been healthier, and he runs barefoot to work every single day.
Yeah, that's.
I imagine he puts
rad.
on shoes and work.
we weren't meant to have freaking shoes on, and now we have rubber soles that keep us from grounding.
Let me try to find. There's one of the healthiest collectives in the world is in Mexico. It's
probably an anarchist community.
But yes, they are, and they all run. They're all marathon runners. I'm trying to, but my computer, if you can look up Jim, I'm sorry, it's just my computer resources are dead. But it's a town in Mexico. Everybody runs, and they wear the thinnest like type of sandal. It's barely a sandal. It's like kind of a tiny protective layer, but it's essentially barefoot. But it's, for rocks and everything, because you're running constantly. So in the wilderness, not a name.
I've thought about transitioning solely to moccasins. Just leather-based moccasins, so it's just a thin piece of leather
I
between
wear
me and the
flip-flops
ground.
everywhere.
Well,
Flip flops are rubber though, so
Flip-flops
I
are
used
too
to I
thick.
used to wear flip flops. That used to be exclusively what I wear, and now I wear moccasins, but they're like the fancy moccasins that still have fucking rubber on them. But I've thought about transitioning to just basic ass leather
So
moccasins.
the funny thing is, like, my dad used to like, the earliest I remember was like 30 years ago. My dad used to run like short, like half marathons, stuff like that. And there was this guy that was in his early 80s, an Italian guy where I grew up as a kid. There was an Italian guy in his early 80s that wore these like 30-year-old canvas shoes that were taped and glued together. And this 80-year-old dude would outrun my dad. And my dad was in his 40s at the time, still in the military and in peak physical condition like that he could attain. And this 80-year-old dude in these like 30-year-old canvas shoes wrapped in tape and glued together was outrunning him. You know, and the dude was like, he lived a perfectly natural lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, I found
there's
them.
a lot to be said
So
about
it's
living
called
naturally.
the Rarámuri or the Tarahumara, a group of indigenous people of the Americas living in the state of Chihuahua in Mexico. These are the people that can run for hundreds of miles. Estimated put Rarámuri population in 2050, 70,000. So they're not a tiny group, but this is the people there. The Rarámuri. The Rarámuri people.
Totally off subject. I'm going to say totally
Oh,
off
yeah.
subject right here. When I was stationed at Fort Bliss down in El Paso for a few years, the funniest thing I ever witnessed was
What a name
right
for a
there
military
on
base. Sorry
I-10,
for the
right there.
injection.
Say what?
Paso.
I said, what a fucking name for a military base. Fort
Bliss did not
Bliss.
inspire bliss. Fort Bliss did not inspire bliss. Okay, it was right there on I-10, right on the border, before that horrendous looking eyesore border wall went up. And when they would allow the cars to travel freely back and forth, so you would constantly see Chihuahua license plates on I-10. All right, and I was within spitting distance of Mexico. Okay, like my backyard. You know, I could throw a bottle across the wall. I was out one morning.
Don't litter.
I think it was. Yeah, don't litter. But man, anyway, I was on I-10, and I saw a big 4-door lead sled, man, with a Chihuahua license plate run over a Chihuahua. And it was the most iconic, like the moment of irony, man. Like a car with a Chihuahua license plate run over a Chihuahua.
It would have been better if it was driven by the
Those
Chihuahua.
are bastardizations of dogs anyway. They're an
Yes, they are,
anomaly
man.
that shouldn't exist.
Dude,
They're
they want to say
like
pit bulls
Frenchies.
are nasty or Dobermans are nasty, but yet they let those little things run around freely, man.
I drive a Volkswagen,
They
and I almost
estimate
hit a Doberman 2 days ago. So just pause for thought there.
they estimate if you ever seen Life Without People? It's a really
Yes.
wonderful series.
Yep.
So one of them, they covers dogs. What would happen to all the dogs? And they estimate in about 30 years, the majority of them would all coalesce back into the baseline race. So the baseline race. So because there is a baseline.
Don't say Chihuahua.
No. It's the baseline dog is like similar to what you would call the dingoes. They're like this big.
Yeah,
They're not too big. They're not too small.
If you are to believe history, they say all dog breeds came from wolves.
Yeah, fine. Seeing doodles, you have a hard time believing that.
It's one of the theory. Well, we've domesticated dogs over 15,000 years ago,
at least.
Horrible.
And
breedings.
what the theory is actually is not that invalid. It was related to wolves, that it was the wolves that decided to like the humans and work with the humans, and that's how it slowly happened.
Because they're like food, man.
Yeah.
Food.
So
people got
and the thing
food.
is, dogs are
photography has been around long
smarter.
enough that we can go back 140 years in pictures.
Mhm.
So we
At
could
least,
see
yeah.
140 years of dog breed
Dogs.
progression.
Dude, we
140 years
bastardized
ago,
them.
none of the
They
dog
were
breeds you
so
see
pretty
now,
back then.
none
They were
of the
so
breeds.
pretty.
Oh,
Dude,
yes, they were,
Frenchies,
man, but none of them look
Frenchie
the
is like,
same.
you know, the dog breed Frenchies. It's an anomaly.
Yeah.
They can't even have their own babies. They have to have C-sections because the heads of the puppies are too big to pass through the birth canal of the mothers. They shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
They're a boutique dog.
I think English bulldogs also have a
Doodles.
similar issue.
Doodles are
Probably.
the most pointless dog
Dude,
breeds.
what's Labradoodle? I saw one
They're
Labradoodle,
such
and then I
cool
saw
dogs, though.
17 Labradoodles where I was. I was like, okay,
No.
this is a very
That's another
very
boutique
trendy
dog.
breed.
Do you know?
But it's just mixing breeds to get an outcome instead of some crazy genetic manipulation shit. But they're actually really, really smart dogs.
The oldest preserved photo is down there with you, Moral Bob, at the University of Austin.
Is it?
And
Of what type of dog? What is it?
It's not of a dog. It's just the oldest photograph. Like
the
oldest preserved photograph. The oldest.
Oh yeah, I seen this. I studied
That's
this.
supposed to
I
be
studied this. Yes, this is
the
the oldest first photograph. Yeah.
That
what?
All right, so you have to. Okay, so
Preserved.
you have to. Okay, so let me explain. Let me explain the photograph. Go up because I studied this. All right, that is the view of a building. So back there, that's another building over there. This is the view of a window. So you're looking at different buildings far away. So that's what you're looking at. And I think this is probably similar with silver. I mean, film is created with silver. If you didn't know, like it's fascinating how film actually works. And
then the first the oldest preserved self-portrait was from 1839. It's this fella right here.
Look at that selfie. He didn't know we would be watching him. Hey, how you doing? You've been dead for a while.
And then the oldest photo of New York they have is from 1848. And these are ones that they have on record. Now, I personally, when you're searching around a lot of things and weird things and coming across old things yourself, like I have found,
I think,
interestingly old things.
So
what the rulers have as far as photograph evidence is way
go
more
up.
intense.
So daguerreotype.
The first photograph of the moon. I call bullshit on the first photograph of the moon.
I do too.
That type of image is done with mercury. So mercury is actually processing it. That's daguerreotype. It's mercury is used in an enclosed box. And
it's etching. It's etching the silver.
So this photo is very fascinating because there were more people. It's just what you see down there. That's the person that's just cleaning someone's shoe. It was the only person that was standing there long enough to be actually captured. Everybody else was just walking by, but the shoe cleaner was immortalized.
So they say.
That's exactly
looks
what
like
happened
a
in the
drawing.
picture. That's not a drawing. Dude.
Were you there when it was taken? Like to just trust things that it doesn't matter, man. Unless you were there, you can't verify it. You can't say what it is unless you saw the creation of it. And given what we are given today and the amount of control that has been laid over our society, you can't.
John Quincy Adams.
Like that's just the narrative they told you in the Rockefeller education system. So like. You can't prove it. That it looks like a drawing, and then a lot of photography. There'd be either blurs or the people that were there. They were moving. The people that stood there the longest, they were moving, so they would be blurred. There would be ghost images of other people.
I know how it works.
Those
I'm
streets.
trying to describe it to you.
Well, you don't need to because I know how photography works. And there would be blurs. The people standing, those people in the picture would be blurred, or there would be ghost images of people all over the place.
It was a 10-minute picture.
Yeah, and long exposure, the reflection of the people moving around would leave ghost images.
No.
Yeah, that's how it works.
I'm a photographer. I know how this works. I've worked with film
I'm married
for
to a
years.
photographer, and I've worked with, dude.
And
I've
a
been on
10-minute
this.
exposure, you're not going to see people moving, especially one done with film.
Sure, you are. It's the same as if you leave your freaking 10-minute exposure open to the stars. You're not just going to see certain stars. You're going to see all of them, and it's
You're
going to
comparing
leave a
modern
line.
cameras to old cameras. They're not comparable.
It's
They're two
still
different
the
things.
same concept.
It's different
Receiving the
chemical
light.
process. Yes, but it's different chemical processes collectively.
It's still
especially how the
still
contrast is
based on
expressed.
light. It is still based on light, regardless. It's based on light. Right? Are you denying that photography is a transfer of light?
I just know what I'm talking about, but it's fine. It's okay. You don't want to believe, it's fine. If you don't
I
want to
don't
believe that
believe.
image is real,
I don't believe shit. I refuse to
Okay.
believe anything that I can't prove. That's cult shit. That's how you get tricked. Belief is the enemy of knowing.
But
that's how you get fooled.
Denial is also in itself a cult-like belief.
I'm not denying anything.
You are.
I'm questioning.
You're denying.
things.
You're denying a historical record of a very important image. Of
Historical
our current
record by
history.
who? Do you know the origin of that picture and who did any of it?
This specific one, according to this, says that it is
Who owns that picture?
Luis Daguerre, the inventor of that type.
The Gora type.
Yeah. Shot what is not only the world's oldest, one of the world's oldest photographs of Paris, but also the first photo with humans. The 10-minute long exposure was taken in 1839 in Palace des Republiques.
So you just believe things that other people wrote down and claim them as fact.
That's how history is built. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, there has
and
to
we
be
know
some,
most of history is a fucking lie.
I mean,
So,
true. I don't
that's
deny
fine.
that most of history is a lie. Like there's no denying.
There's elements of history that have been lied to, yes, but not everything. Like you're
Most of it.
using technology that is based off thousands of years of development that has brought you to the point that you're using
Thousands of
microchips.
years? Again,
Yes.
you're just believing things. You're just believing. You're saying things as fact that are impossible to prove. And that is going to frustrate me to no end when people claim things that they can't prove as fact.
But how do you ever expect to learn from history if you won't believe any of it?
Exactly.
Well, then you just you have this awesome little thing called discernment. And when you have been living in a world of lies, you either sharpen your discernment or your discernment gets dulled.
But you said that like that cult-like mentalities are bad, but you're behaving cult-like mentality right now.
How? Because I question things? Because I question things that are presented to me on the internet?
You're questioning things that are present.
They're not provable. That's the difference. They're not provable. By your standard, I should believe in God. I should believe in the globe. I should believe in a bunch of freaking nonsense that can't be proven. And I don't.
I mean,
it can either be proven or it can't.
The globe is proven just by simple math, but
no, it's not. It's not. But again,
it's fine if you don't want to believe the math or you don't want to read it.
I don't. It's not that I don't believe the math. Okay. If you want to get into this little aside here, why don't buildings get bigger at the top?
Why don't buildings get bigger at the top? Depends on the scale of the size of the building. But why would you want
World Trade Centers were the exact same all the way up to the top, and they were over 100 stories. They were the tallest buildings.
Why would you want the buildings to be bigger at the top?
No. Why don't they get bigger at the top? Okay.
Because they're built from the top down.
They're built from the top down? What world do you live in?
They built from the bottom up in the same proportions, like because of the sway that could happen.
We live on a globe, okay? And on your little ball, your little space rock hurling through space at insane speeds that just physically aren't possible.
Yes, they are.
Provably not possible. There is a certain rate of curve on this little ball, right? You agree? Do you agree that no two places on this ball have the same level?
Well, it depends on the scale you're measuring it.
Well, no. On a
Yes.
ball.
No,
On a
it depends
ball.
on the scale you're
On a ball.
measuring it.
Okay.
No, it depends on the scale. You're
No, it
taking
doesn't.
parts of the equation out to
no
prove your
mental
point.
gymnastics, please.
No, I'm not
On a
mental
ball.
gymnastic. I'm describing to you.
I'm
like,
showing you
how
a
it all
ball.
works.
Am I not showing you a sphere right now?
You're showing me an imperfect sphere.
How is this an imperfect sphere? It
'Cause
looks
we cannot make perfect
exactly.
sphere on Earth.
Well, all of the pictures
there's a
from
science
NASA
to it.
show a perfect sphere, though.
That's not a perfect
That's
sphere.
interesting. That's interesting. This is a perfect sphere. This is a ball. You could do mental gymnastics if you want, but no two places on this ball share the same level. Period. End of story.
Yes, they do. When
It
you
is
go
curving at
small
all
enough.
times and all rates. No, it's
All
not.
right.
You can go down to the very micro. You can go down to fractions of millimeters, and there are no two places on this ball that share the same level. Period. End of story. If you're going to argue otherwise, you are denying fact, reality, physics, and mathematics. Period. And if you are going to deny those things, then we can't have an intellectual conversation.
But you're wrong. You're literally.
How am I wrong? How am I wrong? Prove it with the math. Prove how am I wrong. Show me where two places on this ball, all the way down to the microscopic, it shares the same level, because it doesn't. Period. Balls curve in all directions constantly at the same rate. That's what makes them a fucking ball. Without that, it is not a ball. The sides won't connect and it won't make a sphere. Period. End of story.
It's because of the scale of your size in proportion to the sphere.
No. Spheres don't give a shit about your size. They curve constantly in all directions. Constantly.
You don't want to hear like the reality of it.
Anybody standing on a 24,000 mile circumference ball. No, you're being cultish because you believe the established narrative without questioning it, and you will not let me finish my point. No, you don't. You are just denying provable fact.
No, you're denying it, but it's fine.
How am I denying provable fact?
Because it's not a fact what you're saying.
Yes, it is. Do you not know how geometry works? A sphere is a ball that curves from one point at the same rate in all directions and connects on the exact opposite point. Are you denying that fact?
You are using proportions that you don't comprehend.
I don't comprehend. What's the circumference of the Earth?
What is it? 24,000? I have to check the exact.
Hold on. I'll give you the number.
Nope. Without looking it up, what is the circumference of the Earth?
I think it was like 24,000.
I mean, no. If you will hang on a second there, Bob, I'm actually, in a sense, trying to help you because I've heard this argument before, and there's some truth to it.
I know the heliocentric model better than you do, Luis. And I guarantee I will destroy any fucking argument you have, and you are denying physics and math in order to stick with your cultish behavior. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. This world is about 24.3 thousand miles in circumference based on the NASA established fucking narrative. Okay? And
no, we figured that out. We figured that out thousands of years ago.
No, you didn't. You're just regurgitating nonsense, and you say that I am the cult one. You're just regurgitating shit you read. And
the flat Earth theory was restarted in the 1950s, right?
Oh,
people didn't believe the Earth was flat.
Christ.
No, I mean,
I've never heard these arguments before. Come on, man. Like I can destroy the globe. Period. End of story. With just engineering of buildings, I can destroy the globe. Because one spot and 200 feet away, that spot should not have the same level. You've never seen
how lasers work, right?
You really just love to
disprove
assume
your
things.
theory completely.
No, they don't.
Yes, they
Lasers
do.
prove a flat Earth. Water proves a flat Earth. Engineering, city skylines, the flat horizon. The fact that the stars spin in a circle constantly when they shouldn't be the same every night. They should change every single night, but they don't.
They move with us.
So the entire universe is just spinning to Earth? You're so arrogant that the entire universe is spinning towards Earth?
No, it's just anything that's that far away looks static. So we're moving around.
How fast are we spinning around the sun?
How fast? We're spinning around really fast.
According to NASA, it's 3,959 miles.
No.
How fast are we going around the sun?
We're moving pretty fast around the sun. We're moving like 14,000 miles per hour, like in terms of how we're rotating, but how fast are we going around the sun is pretty fast too.
Yeah, it is 66.6 thousand miles an hour, which is Mach 88.
Mm-hmm.
Mach 88. So
gravity holds you in place.
Spinning. Sure, it does. Prove gravity. Go ahead, do that.
I mean, the thing is,
listen,
you're disregarding
you Globers love
the
to just talk over anybody that actually knows what they're talking about. You like to just.
You don't.
I do. And let me explain it. I do.
You're talking.
Let me explain.
Talking nonsense. Honestly,
I'm talking nonsense.
Sorry.
Says the guy that thinks that we're spinning around at 1,000 miles an hour, going around the sun at 66,000 miles an hour in a completely different location every night, pointing in a different fucking direction. Yet we see the exact same stars in the exact same place.
So the stars,
they can be measured.
So the stars and their locations actually throughout time move.
So the thing. The sky is a clock. It just spins around Polaris.
The location of Polaris, everything moves because we move. The thing is, it's measurements that have been done through hundreds of years.
It doesn't, though.
You don't know the astronomical history.
Yes, I do. I've studied this. You are saying things that you have read as fact without actually looking into it, because that's just what creates
your current reality. Like the technology you're enjoying is based off the science that you're denying.
No, it's not. So the
99%
of communication is done through fiber optic wire. That is a provable fact. What you're saying is wrong, and your arrogance, your ego, and your narcissism is not allowing you to say, fuck, maybe I am wrong, and actually listen to somebody that's done thousands of hours of research and
actually knows studied the mathematics at all.
You don't know that. You just say things that you can't prove as fact. I have done thousands of hours of research, actually. You are saying things that are provably false as fact. And it's madness, and you need to stop it right now. Because I am not going to fucking tolerate this shit. You are talking over me. You are saying that I am wrong without being able to prove that I'm wrong.
You're wrong, and you won't listen. It's simple. The science is clear.
You keep talking over me. Science is not settled, man. If you think science is something that can be settled, we are constantly in a perpetual state of science being proven wrong.
Yes, of course. There's a lot of things that have been proven wrong with time.
And you are denying provable fact. So
of what gravity is,
to get back to my point,
applies
before you started rudely over talking, is a building is built on a universal level. So something as big as, say, the World Trade Centers had walls that were hundreds of feet long. Hundreds of feet wrong. So you can do your mental gymnastics of, it depends on whether or not the scale and blah, blah, blah.
So you don't get that when you build a pipeline,
this is what you're doing. You're talking over me instead of letting me finish my fucking point.
The math of the curvature
won't
of the
let
Earth.
me finish my point.
Because you're talking nonsense, dude.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to tell you provable fact, and you won't listen to provable fact. If there is one place on this earth and then another place 200 feet away, they do not share the same level. Period. End of story. Based on your model, your math, your measurements, there is not something 200 feet away that will share the same level.
In proportion to the planet.
I do. I am telling you, by your math, by your established narrative, places 200 feet away would have two different levels. There is a bridge that most of the heliotards use to say, oh, see, it proves curve, because at the top of the bridge pillars, they're 1.5 inches deflection at the top from the bottom.
When you build things only that are of a certain scale, you put in the proportions of the Earth in order to make adjustments so it doesn't get affected by the curvature.
Show me how it works.
Earth.
Show me the engineering that proves that, because it doesn't exist. When the World Trade Centers were built,
I don't know what you're using the World Trade Center. It's in a tiny fucking piece of land.
Because it's huge. Because the deflection. Because
it's not. It's not a huge
You are
thing at
talking
all.
over me without listening, Luis. It is bullshit. A
Not
building
bullshit.
100 feet tall
100 feet
should-
tall. That's 10
should-
stories.
should have deflection from each one of the pillars. If a building has 100-foot walls, 4 walls, and 4 pillars in each corner of that wall, each one of those pillars would have a different level.
Do you
And-
know how things are built? Like this is
yes,
like the
I'm
weirdest
actually
argument.
I'm a contractor, so shut the fuck up and quit talking over me. You won't let me finish because you can't handle the truth.
There's
Just
no truth in
shut up
anything
for a
you're
minute.
saying.
Just
And-
shut
and
up.
It's weird that you're getting so mad about it.
Because you are talking over me. You're being fucking rude and disrespectful, and I'm not going to tolerate it. I'm
mean, 'cause
about
you're
to
not
fucking
talking
shut
science.
this shit off. I am.
sorry.
I'm trying to tell you that in engineering of buildings, of tall buildings, there is no engineering to tilt the pillars towards each other to make them
There
level and
is.
parallel. No,
There
there
is.
isn't.
Oh, actually,
No, there isn't. You are just
the-
saying things that you can't
a
prove
great
as
example
fact.
of this is actually in Greece, and the Parthenon actually has those curvatures put into the science of it. The pillars are slightly curved, so when you see it from far away, they look straight, but they're actually all curved.
The World Trade Centers were perfectly level all the way up. They were measurably
because of
parallel.
no, because of modern engineering taking into account all these things.
They didn't, though. Show me. Look it up right now. Look it up right
Why
now.
are you using the
Look
World
up the
Trade Center as an
engineering,
example?
because
You
they're
built the
tall
British-
and the deflection. You understand the angles get bigger.
The Petronas
the
Towers is
further
a
they
better
go.
example because they're actively here. The Petronas Towers that are
It
much
doesn't
taller.
matter. The engineering is still there. The math is still there. Show me the
They
fucking
take
math
into
with the World
account-
Trade Centers where the engineers took into account the curve. Show me. Show me right now. Look it up.
I mean,
It
architects
doesn't exist. It doesn't
there is.
exist,
Okay.
Luis.
When you build pipelines, you have to take into account the curvature of the earth.
What do you do for a living, Luis? You work with
Actually read.
nonprofits. You don't build things. You don't actually know that there's a universal level. What's the rate of curve over 10 miles, Luis? 67
I
feet.
don't-
I'll go ahead and answer it for you because I've researched your model.
There's
more
no
than you have.
object on Earth that's that big, but except pipelines, and pipelines do take into account the curvature of the earth. To an
No, they
extent.
don't. No, they don't.
Oh my god, dude, it's okay.
No, they don't.
You want to be
No
in denial
engineering
of,
takes into
of
curve.
modern
Coriolis has been
engineering, it's okay.
debunked. Coriolis has been debunked over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's been debunked. But you're
It's
just
sad.
denying
You're
provable
so you're sort of
reality.
mad about it too.
But, dude, you can gaslight
You don't
and
realize
project all
I'm not
you want.
gaslighting. It's just you're talking
Your
about
cult
people
behavior
being
is fine. That's
you're
fine.
the one that's getting erratic. I'm not erratic. It's okay if
It's
you don't want
because
to
you're
believe
being
in these things.
disrespectful.
Because you're acting as if I don't understand any of these things.
You
when
don't. You clearly
when
don't.
you're
You've
the
never
one
built
that's-
anything. Clearly. You've never been in construction like I have. You're not a fucking contractor. I can guarantee you that.
You're building things in proportion to a planet that is so much larger than you, and you're
What
taking
is the
into
rate of
account
curve
that
over
you're-
10 miles? If you
You're
know,
talking
if you
about
know the
10
scale
miles.
of this,
Nobody builds anything that's 10 miles in size, dude.
are you insane? Cities are built.
Yes,
New York
cities.
City. New
Cities.
York City is
Cities.
15 feet of 15 miles of shoreline. 15
Yes,
miles of
dude,
shoreline. Do
you're
you know the rate of
oversimplifying some
curvature?
things.
Do
You're
you know
so
the rate of
oversimplifying
curvature
things.
over 15 miles?
Oh
Do you
my
know the
God,
amount
it's
of
so
curve?
ridiculous.
Do you
This is
know
so
the amount of
ridiculous.
curve? Your gaslighting isn't going to
No,
change provable
it's-
fact.
It's because when you build something, right, there's no one object that's going to be like this size over 10 miles in a straight line, except lasers. And lasers prove there's curvature, but that's
No, they
beside the
don't.
point. You don't want to listen to that.
Laser doesn't bend, but okay. You're going
No.
by that Flat Earth Society video you saw on the internet. So you just
No,
you just think that
lasers-
anything that you see on the internet is true.
No, lasers.
Is that what you're
no,
doing here?
lasers are being utilized for science at very long distances.
Right, but you refuse to let me finish a point. New York City is over 15 miles of coastline.
So, like, it
And
varies
it
in
is
heights and
measurably flat, and all of
No,
the
it's
buildings are
not.
measurably parallel.
Dude, I live
There's
here.
over
You're talking
150.
nonsense. You're literally
No, I'm
talking
not.
nonsense. The
You
city's
can
not flat.
measure everything.
The city's
parallel.
not flat, dude. The city's
The
not flat.
skyline is flat. All of the buildings
To
are
your
parallel.
perception, not to reality.
Yes,
You're
to
talking
reality.
out of your ass, dude.
I am
You're literally
not.
talking out of your ass. You're not. You don't know what you're talking about. You build a house. A house is not a city. You're talking nonsense. You're talking about Lego blocks,
Okay,
but you don't realize how cities are not built like Lego blocks. They're
Show
not built
me-
in perfectly straight lines. Nothing
I didn't
is.
say they were, Einstein. I said the skyline is perfectly flat it's
not.
parallel with the freaking water that is on the skyline, and all of the buildings
Those
are
are
parallel.
perceptions.
That would be impossible on a ball. You don't even know the rate of curve over 10 miles. You don't even know your own model, man. It's fucking pathetic that you can sit here with this arrogance and you don't even know your own goddamn model. And that's what pisses me off is your fucking arrogance, dude.
I mean, it's okay. You want to believe in this?
I don't believe
reality
shit,
that-
dude. I don't believe anything I can't prove. So everything I say, I can prove. You can't prove
one day you'll
shit.
understand it. One day you'll understand it. It's okay.
Okay, cool, man. You don't
I'm
even
not
understand
mad.
physics. You don't
I
understand
do
that we
better
would
than
feel
you,
any
evidently.
movement that we are. We're going around the sun at Mach 88. Mach 88. That's such a big number that you can't even comprehend it.
Yeah, but there's a reason why you can't feel it.
Sure, gravity. Prove gravity. Go ahead. Prove it. It's a theory. Go ahead and prove gravity.
I actually bring that up a lot.
Prove gravity.
The
Louise,
expression
prove
of
a
gravity.
single fucking thing that you've said.
You
One.
don't want to listen.
You're the one that keeps talking over me. You're the one that won't let me finish a fucking point, and you're denying provable reality.
You're putting points that literally are nonsensical to an
They're
extreme
not.
degree.
Physics, mathematics, engineering is nonsense. Okay,
No, what you're,
cool,
what
man.
you're
Tell me more
saying
about your
them
cult-like
is-
belief.
No, what you're
that
saying
you're denying
about them is
provable reality. And you don't even know your model. All you fucking heliotards are just like, oh, the earth is really big. But you don't know how big it is. I do. Because I've done the fucking research. You haven't. You've read a couple websites, read some freaking articles, and watched some Professor Dave videos and think you're fucking smart, and you're not. You're denying provable reality. You probably think the Earth's shadow causes the freaking phases of the moon.
It's so sad that you get so mad about these things. It's sad because you don't realize. That
Okay,
you've fallen
gaslight
into
some
your
more,
own-
Luis.
No,
Gaslight
because you
some
don't
more
realize that you've fallen into
it's
your
the
own
only
trap.
tactic you have is personal attacks. You don't have
It's not
math
personal
or
attack.
physics or anything on your side.
Oh,
All
the
you
math
can
is
do
on my side. It's not
all
on
you
yours.
can do is attack my character and my mental stability. Because that's the only tool in your fucking belt, dude.
No, the math is on my side too. But
No, it's not.
fine that you don't want to
It's
listen
not.
to it.
What's the rate of curve over 10 miles, Luis?
I have that.
You
answer.
know, balls
the
curve in
Earth.
all directions at the same rate, at exactly the same rate, in all directions at the same time. So if you see anything fucking flat like the horizon for over 10 miles, then what you are looking at is a flat surface. You are denying observable reality. You're a mentally ill person that has been indoctrinated into a lie,
man.
and your
I'm sorry.
ego won't let you wake up to it because the horizon is measurably flat. No matter how high you go or how much horizon you see, it is measurably flat. And that wouldn't happen on your ball because just at 10 miles, 10, not 100 miles, 10 miles, the average rate or the rate of curve is 66.7 feet.
Yeah,
that is a noticeable amount of curve, and it is not observable in reality.
That is completely impossible to perceive by a human being.
Sure it is. Sure it is. I can hold up something perfectly straight. Give me a second.
Dude,
I can hold up
proportions.
I can hold up this perfectly straight, and if I bend it just a little bit, I can bend it just a little bit, and you're going to be able to tell that it's bent.
that's like way more than you think it is. And the thing is, the Parthenon is a great example of ancient engineering taking into account curvature. If you want to show
sure.
the Parthenon's
There's
proportions,
no
in the ancient-
engineering in curvature for the World Trade Centers or any tall buildings or any bridges. They
You're
don't take into
comparing
curve,
again modern
but okay.
engineering that can make it perfect. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Like you are comparing apples to modern engineering to a wooden house. Like don't compare a bird house.
Level is level,
modern
sweetheart.
engineering.
You can deny it all you want, but level is level. Period. End of story. And when you build things on level, they end up parallel. And that wouldn't happen on a ball. Period. End of story. You can deny that provable fact all you want, but building things on level. If I build my house on level and my neighbor builds his house on level, our walls will be measurably parallel, and that wouldn't happen on a ball. You don't even know the rate of curve. On a ball, doesn't matter if we're a foot apart or 100 feet apart or 100 fucking miles apart, there should be a measurable curve, and there's not.
There is, but it's okay.
There isn't. You can't measure curve, dude. Go ahead, look it up. I've done the research. I've done literally thousands of hours of research. You're just regurgitating what you saw online.
You've just been repeating. You have the Dunning-Kruger effect on steroids. I'm sorry,
more personal attacks because you don't have math to present.
Because you
show
are
me the
obsessed
math.
Show
me the math. Show me the math, dude. I'm waiting.
My
show
computer,
me the
I
fucking
can't.
math.
I have to go on the phone and look.
Anyone? Bueller? Sure. Excuses. You got
it's
nothing.
Very childish. You're behaving this way, but it's your choice.
I don't care.
To behave this way.
You think I give a single fuck what any? No, I'm not. I'm not objectively wrong. Objectively means you can prove that I'm wrong.
Yes.
Okay. Present your evidence. Crickets. Shocker.
No, I'm working on it to send it to him so I can show you the Parthenon's math.
No, the Parthenon. You have to go back thousands of years. You can't go.
No, this was just a recent example that
you can't go to anything else. You've got this one little cherry pick thing that you probably got from Professor Dave, and that's it.
What I'm trying to explain to you is that
all
it's been known throughout time. It's not a debate between anybody that understands what's the rules of this planet in relationship to the physics
agreeing
of this
with the established narrative makes you correct.
It's not in agreement with established narrative. It is agreement with established science of what represents our planet.
How many times has science changed and been disproven?
Of course, there's been changes in math and science throughout time.
So you're just going to trust this thing that's perpetually proven wrong.
No,
you're going to just use scientism, which it's you're believing in scientism, not science, because there is a scientific method to think. Can you scientifically prove that gas pressure can happen without a container? Can you show me that? I'd like to see that proof as well, or you're going to say some other nonsense about gravity.
That gas pressure could. What are you saying?
Prove gas pressure without a container.
You mean the measurement of the pressurization?
Prove gas pressure without a container. Prove that you can have gas pressure without a container. I would like you to prove that.
Measure how to measure gas without a container.
How to measure the pressure
of gas without a container.
Without a container.
Do you mean like what is it called? Well, yeah, there's ways to do that. There's the different particle expressions to do that with lasers. Okay, well, this is one topic on that, but I have to send them the exact link on it. But this is how it was actually built in relationship, and then the perception of it is different to what people perceive. I mean, this was done 2,000 years ago because they understood the science of it, but you want to deny it.
Show it today. Show it today. Show me an engineering from today that does the same exact thing. I would love to see it. I would love to see it.
It's all over the planet. It's not exclusive to any one place, but I'm just showing you a specific one. The people that 2,000 years ago,
where anything was built taking into account for curve and not level. Go ahead and show me where they had to account for curve, because all you're doing is proving that they had to account for curve. So there's no two places on the ball that are level. So there should be engineering in every building that says that they lean all the walls. Even in this simple house that I'm in, there should be engineering that lean all the freaking shit a certain direction and it makes it level. but it doesn't. Level is just level. If I build 100-foot, 10-foot, 1,000-foot concrete pad, and I just put everything as level, it'll be flat. Period. End of story.
Oh, here it
period.
is. Here's the math of it.
Okay.
Oh, here it is. I found it. Okay. Effects of Earth curvature, suspension, bridges, dimensions, and then they have to shows how to compute a 1 1/5 inch additional separation base of the drawing. So basically,
Yeah, that was the
like
bridge that I was talking about.
No, it was a different. This is a different bridge. This is just how you have to do the math so the bridge looks flat because you're adding curvature to it.
Sure.
So it then becomes level. What you don't understand is that they're adding curvature to cancel the level, to create it to become level.
How much have you?
And
built?
you build things
how many
that are
buildings
too
have you
small.
built?
It doesn't matter, dude. You've never built something big enough to add
Have you?
encompass the curvature of the Earth.
Have you?
I don't need to understand the math of it.
Yes, you do. You have to understand how things are built. It doesn't matter if my pillars are 10 feet apart or 100 feet apart. If I have to account for curve, I have to account for curve. Period.
Yes, and they do.
I don't account for curve at 100 feet, but not 10. So it doesn't matter if I've built a 10 by 10 shed or a fucking 200 by 200 freaking. Matter. No, it doesn't. Either you account for curve or you don't. Either I build things on level and
you're assuming
I don't account for curve and the building gets
level too.
It doesn't matter if you're standing on the side of a mountain or down in a valley, the level is the same.
What's flatter, Kansas or a pancake?
It doesn't matter. It's whatever you can put. Level is just level.
What's flatter,
Have
Kansas
you ever
or pancake?
used a level?
Yes.
Have you ever used a level to build something?
Yes.
That's why they have to grade the earth level before they build something.
Right. But it doesn't matter if the walls are 10 feet, 100 feet, or 1,000 feet. The level in one corner is the exact same as the level in the other corner.
That's why you have to level the ground you can build things.
They grade it out.
Yeah, because you have to level the whole ground, dude.
How do you do they take yes, but do they take okay, wait, what?
You have to quiet. You have to level the ground, dude.
To what? To which point? Do you find a middle point in the engineering and then take that level and then make everything level to that level? Or is it level here and then there's a different level there?
They have a survey group come out with lasers.
Right.
And they'll grade the ground level because it's not. There is not a naturally God.
Right.
If there is,
and how do they do that with level?
Lines are level.
Because I've worked with a lot of surveyors, and I actually know a guy that owns his own survey company. Because I'm a contractor and I build things.
The ground doesn't look. The ground's like this, so you have to add soil to fix it.
Yes, genius. I know that. But as a surveyor, to find level, if I have a surveyor here, okay, in this position right here, marked by this screwdriver, okay. This is the guy with the sight glass. Okay. Do you even know how surveys work? This is the guy with the sight glass and the laser. And this over here is the guy with the receptor that receives
the
laser.
Engineers take into account that information to create level.
And the laser that goes in between those 2 points that don't share the same level have the same level. And they build something on that and it ends up flat. It's amazing. It's this amazing thing that when you attach
engineers
something
that are smarter than
when you
actually
when you attach something here that is level and here that is a level, what you get in between the two things is a
most surveyors are never going also
line.
alarm distance.
It's amazing that when this level and this level are attached and the bar between them is set at level, it's a flat line and you don't have to take into account for curve at all. It's this really amazing thing that happens that when you build things on level, they end up flat.
You should actually one day do an actual test, like go from one side of side to another.
I've done all the tests.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have. You're just saying. See, there you go. No, you haven't. You don't know what I've done, Luis. You don't know what I've done. You're just saying things and claiming it's fact without the ability to prove
Because
it.
it's laughably absurd what you're saying.
Okay, anybody that knows how to build things, anybody that's actually built anything knows that I'm right.
No, they were laughing their heads off. Any architect friends of mine would listen to this and they're just going to laugh.
Send them my way.
I actually
Send
sent
them
them.
Go
I
ahead.
sent already some of the math that's related to the sizing.
Send them my way. Send any architect you know my way. I dare you. And I'll have a public conversation with them if they're willing. Because I will prove that you're wrong. Level is just level. Accounting for curve is not a thing in construction. It's not. I've worked in construction for 25 years.
You've worked in tiny things. dude.
It doesn't matter. The rate of
Worked in
curve is
tiny
the rate of
things.
curve.
You've worked in tiny things. You don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, man.
Okay, sure. It doesn't matter. Balls curve in all directions at the same rate. Either I have to account for curve at 10 feet or I don't. And if I
Or
don't
insinuate, you're taking
if I
the
don't
assumption.
have to account for curve
You're taking
at
into
20
assumption
feet, then I'm not
that
accounting for curve.
You're also
period.
taking into assumption that the Earth, which is a complex sphere with peaks
The
and
mental
valleys in
gymnastics
different
is
proportions,
fucking astounding.
you're then taking into account the idea that you, with building a house, understand the scale of this planet when you don't.
I've studied the planet. You haven't.
Oh, well,
I've
you're saying it's a
studied
planet.
it
There you go. You're
intensely.
accepting it's a planet. It's okay.
No, I've studied the planet model. I've studied it. I've studied the math. You haven't. And I've also built things. So I have real world knowledge
Building
about
a house
things.
is not building a structure that's so big that it needs to take into account the curvature of the earth.
Either you have to take into account for curve or you don't. Or the building would get, even if it's only a 2-story building with 20-foot walls, it would get measurably bigger at the top.
Because
Yeah,
they come in and they will fill
back.
according to slope, grade, whatever
What do they level it to?
level to get it flat.
To level to
Because
what?
It's
Oh, okay. So you're proving that
I'm
making
not
everything
proving
level
anything,
makes
man.
it flat.
because level is flat.
Yes, and it doesn't matter if level is here or level is here. If I take a measurement with a survey crew,
If you come out here with a survey crew and you've got a piece of land that is going like this,
yes,
right? And you want to build out and then fill in, you have to come to a point to where it's like this.
yes, and how do they
Right?
do that?
They'll come out with their survey crew and they'll start up here, shoot out, and then they'll fill in according to get that land flat. Any
what?
any dips and anything till it's level and flat.
Level to what
Right?
position? Because
It
all
doesn't
positions
matter
on
if,
the earth
if
is
it's going
different.
like this. If it's going like this, it doesn't matter out to what point you're building. If it goes like this, they
You
will
make-
come out.
You
they will
don't even
grade
understand
and
that
fill.
you're
They
arguing
will grade
against
and
the
fill
globe.
until it's like this, man. Wow, dude. I can't. All right.
You don't even understand that you're arguing against the globe. You're saying that level is flat. That's
No,
fucking
you
amazing.
level
Your
too
cognitive
flat.
dissonance is so
No, you-
insane that you don't even understand that level is flat. Like you don't understand that a survey
level
crew
too flat.
uses lasers that don't bend to make things flat.
No,
and
no, no.
it's-
You level
And it is lining
too
up
flat.
this level and this level. Like
No,
that's what they're doing.
You're
is
the
they're
individual with
lining up-
cognitive dissonance right
They're
now.
lining up two spots that are on a globe, on a ball, and lining them up to level with a laser, which means that they should be like this, no matter how far apart they are. There should be deflection, and there's not. When two people on a survey crew, because I actually know how survey crews work, and y'all don't.
No, you don't.
I do. I've worked with survey
You can
crews.
tilt the stick that you hold
is
to the
amazing.
You tilt
receiver.
the stick, dude.
It has to
Exactly.
be. Yes, this guy over here has to be holding his fucking stick
Mhm.
perfectly
Yeah, and
level. And there's levels up and down.
And then you move it up
levels
and
this
down,
way. Right.
and
And,
levels
this
this way.
dude holds his to a completely different location,
All right.
level
Let me-
this
let
way
me ex- let
and
me
this way.
explain it.
And
Let me
when they
explain it
line
to a
those
way
two
you're gonna
things up
understand.
and they build something in between
for
it,
the
it's
laser
flat
to be
and
for the
parallel.
laser to be level, the person
It
over
has to be
here,
on a tripod, and you have to
and the
adjust
height
the legs.
difference
Flat.
creates the flat. The height difference creates the flat. So
oh
there's
my
a
God,
height
Jim
difference.
Bob, you have to fucking give me this recording.
That's
dude.
the thing.
You
The
have
height
to give me
difference
this
is what
recording.
creates the flat
I'm fucking
surface.
posting this shit.
And
This
that's
is
the reality of
hilarious.
how it all works.
Oh my God.
I mean, you're the one with
Oh my
cognitive
God.
dissonance on a level that I've rarely seen, and it's strange.
Oh, it's amazing. You guys don't even know how surveys are done, and you think you're right. This is so good. I can't wait to post this. This is so fucking good. Oh, this has been a treat, guys. I really appreciate it. That was fucking awesome. That you don't even understand. You're arguing against the globe. That's how little your comprehension and grasp on the math is. Surveyors
will laugh.
Spectacular. And on that, no, they wouldn't. Most people that I know that are surveyors are flat earthers. Surveyors are generally flat earthers.
Look, when you have
like pilots.
When you do a survey, no, pilots are not flat earthers.
Okay. Dude, I'm done.
When you do a survey, you have to be sometimes at different heights to level it.
I'm fucking done. This is a fucking exercise in futility, man. These motherfuckers are denying reality, and that's like I'm out, man. I'm never gonna be able to see it.
It's okay. You don't realize the mirror you're in.
Okay, that's fine. Honestly, I couldn't fucking care less what your dumbass thinks of me. So I really don't fucking care. Idiots laughing at me has no effect on me. But I for sure want to post this. This is amazing.
This is textbook Donner-Kruger effect.
Sure it is. Project harder, buddy. I can prove what I say. I can prove what I say with engineering and math and physics.
I sent Jim Bob the math.
You just say things as fact that you can't prove. Oh, the Parthenon was built. Were you there? No. You're just taking shit off the internet you fucking found and said, oh, see, it's fact.
I have been at the Parthenon, actually, but okay.
I fucking Googled it. Yeah, and guess what? It's all flat.
No.
You weren't there when they built it to see what they fucking did. You didn't see.
You can measure it looking. You can measure.
Yes, you can measure that it's flat.
No, it's not flat,
you can do.
Dude.
It's level.
There's curves to the fucking thing, so you can perceive it as flat. You're literally so dense that you don't get that people put in the math.
You can perceive it. So my eyes are just lying to me. It's really curved, but if I put a fucking level on it, it's level, but my eyes are lying to me. It's fine. It's actually curved. I just can't see the curve.
You would see a curve depending on the type of construction, but you again don't get
mental gymnastics.
It's not mental gymnastics. You're the one that don't understand the math.
Shit, dude. That is gold medal shit. You don't even know the rate of curve. How far is the moon? Have you even fucking studied your own model at all? Jesus Christ.
I mean,
dude,
you don't believe in the moon at this point.
I believe in nothing. The moon could be a fucking hologram. I believe in nothing because I'm not part of a fucking cult. I actually believe
the moon is a total hologram. I've had this discussion before.
I'm not part of any cults, man. I can actually change my mind. I've proven that.
You are in a cult because you're literally behaving in cultish behavior by getting so mad about something.
I'm laughing at idiots. I'm laughing at people that are denying provable reality that say, I don't know what I'm talking about when I've worked in this fucking industry.
You've measured.
I know how to build things. I know what level means. Y'all are just saying shit that you saw on the internet on
not
Professor
probably
Dave's
built anything
website.
Probably larger.
It doesn't matter. Either you account for curve or you don't.
You do.
It doesn't matter.
You're not the one building foundations. I can tell.
I work with people that build foundations. I build things for a living.
Well,
I'm a contractor. Jesus.
I hope I never enter one of your buildings.
This has probably been one of the more exhilarating conversations I've been able to sit through.
Christ. I'm sorry, Jim. I can't handle people that deny provable reality. Call me fucking
anything.
dumb.
You're the
when
one
they can't prove
you're the
anything
one that's denying objective reality based off real math.
Madness.
Everybody's
you don't know the math.
I believe what everybody else says, so I'm the right one.
This is why I've created this platform of courses so that we can come on here and discuss some of these hard topics. You know, I will. You know, I'm actually not going to take a side either way, because if you guys knew what I believed, you'd both think I was absolutely fucking bananas.
This could all be a fucking simulation.
So
it could all be
fake. And now, actually, to that point, actually, Moral Bob, to that point, simulate even though they can't wrap their head around this, and I'll give you a point in this. People that believe in simulated Earth actually believe in flat Earth. They just don't realize it.
Well, because in a computer simulation, the code would be easier to write for a flat plane than
just like it is with video games.
Boom. Like
and
the horizon is always flat for a reason.
So I actually listen, I believe we're in a snow globe on an alien's fucking shelf, and he peeks in on us every now and then. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, that's me.
Like, somebody could fucking yank my VR goggles off of me right now and show me what really is, and I'd just be like,
right,
fucking A,
right.
man.
And I do enjoy these exhilarating conversations. And Luis, Moral Bob, I love both of you, and I do intend on seeing you again sometime in the future, Moral Bob. I never know who's going to be here with me. We do mix it up quite frequently and stuff, so because I don't know if Bandit was even here last time you were on anyway either too. I believe Neptune was. So
Neptune was.
It's been an interesting conversation, that's to say the least. And of course, Moral Bob, I will definitely get you a copy of things. I try to do that anyway.
This is going to be a fun one to give my listeners.
And guys, of course, you guys know where to find me, of course. But as far as Moral Bob, you guys want to find some more of him and engage with him and have some good conversations, I of course recommend hopping over to his Instagram page, because his Instagram page is pretty lit and there's a lot of good conversations over there. But you can also find him streaming in all the platforms, kind of like we are over there with the Hidden in Plain Sight podcast. I know he's over there on Apple Podcasts real good, and I see him on Podbean and a couple other spots when you search him up.
Instagram, don't forget my bigger page now, because it has eclipsed my hidden podcast, Hidden in Plain Sight podcast, and it's at Spaces Fake and Gay, and I can prove it. So come over there. I'm gaining followers by the second, and all the haters come at me constantly, and haters gonna hate, but they can't prove me wrong.
Yoink.
So, it's
anywhere
amazing.
Moral Bob is, I like to follow him because I do like to watch his comment section, guys, because
my shit gets hot.
It gets hot and heated, and it gets pretty funny from the end that I'm sitting on. But of course, you guys know we'll have all of that stuff linked in the one place that you can find everything, the Unconstitutional Awakening podcast. And that's, of course, at unconstitutionalawakening.com, where you can find everything that we've got going on over there. You can get back to all these episodes of our show on whether you want to watch it, whether you want to listen to it. Of course, I thank all of you over there that are doing that for us and keeping this thing going. We are now in the triple digits of shows, just celebrating the 100th episode the other day and such. So that's always good. And while you're there, you guys can make sure you check out our sponsors that we got going on. People that are Friends of Liberty that I trust, that are alternative sources from everything else that we've got going on nowadays. Like my buddy Kirk Elliott over there at kirkelliottphd.com/Jimbab/. And then our local energy healer who loves dealing in vibrations, since that's something we were talking about earlier tonight, who at Peachy Key Creations, who's finally released her Dragon's Blood Pirate soap that's official for this show. Man, this is a good smelling one. You guys should check that out. She's only got 10 bars of it left available, so you guys make sure you get over there and get some ordered now while you can. And my little buddy over there at Ammo Can Survival, doing the things that he does with camp and first aid and survival stuff, as well as plate carriers and ghillie suits, man. That's Ammo Can Survival. You can find him on Instagram as well. And then, of course, my buddy over there helping the homeschooling world and helping connect larger minds together to show world that outside of the indoctrination camps, man. Over there with Brett Pike, Classical Learner at Homeschools Connected and Cubs to Bear Books, man. You can go over there and check all that good stuff out. You can find it right there on unconstitutionalawakening.com. Where you can get back to Luis, you'll be able to get back to Moral Bob, and you can find me and Bandit and Neptune hanging out over there on Captain Conspiracy and the Freedom Pirates on Facebook, or anywhere you can find Jim Bob Oval Shorts, because I'm kind of everywhere. And these guys are usually, they usually share stuff for me that I share over to everybody else as well. So, of course, I had a fantastic time hanging out with everybody tonight, and I hope everybody else will have a fantastic evening for the rest of their time, and we will talk to you next time. But before I jump out of here, you guys know that I have to give my favorite things to do every single night before we get started out of here, before I go sliding out of here. So what has 8 legs, 8 arms, and 8 eyes? 8 pirates. You guys have a fantastic evening. Good night.